Cleetus McFarland has built an empire on YouTube with his wild car events and high horsepower builds. His recent jump into stock car racing has already made waves, bringing millions of new fans to the sport. But does NASCAR actually need someone like Cleetus to stay relevant? Or is he just a passing trend? Let's break it all down in today's video.
Ryan Blaney has won his way into the championship.
A great day for Kyle Larson.
Seventh career win in his 100th.
Joey Logano takes the checkered flag. Hell yeah,
Cleetus McFarland is one of the biggest names in the world of automotive YouTube. His journey from being a law student to owning a racetrack and creating viral car events is nothing short of incredible. With over 4.1 million subscribers on YouTube and videos that regularly pull in millions of views, he's built an empire around his love for cars, racing, and outrageous stunts. His rise to fame is a perfect example of how passion and creativity can lead to massive success. Garrett Mitchell wasn't always the internet-famous Cleetus McFarland. He grew up in Nebraska, where he developed a love for cars early on. His family was well off, and his parents wanted him to have a stable career. So he followed their wishes and went to college to study law. However, deep down, he knew his true passion was in cars, not courtrooms. His big break came through 1320 Video, one of the most well-known YouTube channels dedicated to street racing and drag racing. While still in college, Garrett started helping 1320 Video by filming races and working behind the scenes. It was during this time that the character Cleetus McFarland was born. One day while filming, he made a funny video where he exaggerated a southern accent and acted like a stereotypical redneck car guy.
We're here with Cleetus McFarland, and you're 1969?
Yep, it's a big block Chevrolet engine. Big Chevy fan.
The video was uploaded online and people loved it. The character of Cleetus became an instant hit. Instead of being just another guy talking about cars, he had created something unique. Seeing the reaction to his videos, Garrett made a decision. He dropped out of law school and went all in on YouTube. At first, he focused on street racing and drag racing content. Unlike traditional motorsports, street racing had a raw, rebellious energy that made it exciting. His channel quickly gained traction, and before he knew it, his audience grew into the millions. What made Cleetus McFarland different from other car YouTubers was his mix of humor, authenticity, and action-packed content. He wasn't just reviewing cars. He was pushing them to their limits, modifying them for extreme performance, and taking his fans along for the ride. Whether it was drag racing, burnout competitions, or building insane high-horsepower machines, his videos were always entertaining. Cleetus McFarland's debut in the ARCA Menard Series at Daytona was one of the biggest moments in motorsports recently. His appearance in the race not only created a huge buzz, but it also brought in a massive number of new viewers. NASCAR reporter Caitlin Vincey called it the Cleetus McFarland effect, and the numbers prove she was right. The post-race interview with him on Fox Sports quickly reached 5.8 million views, which is unheard of for a series like ARCA. His debut race was the Ride the Denton 200 at Daytona International Speedway, where he drove the number 30 Ford Mustang for Rhett Jones Racing. Even though Cleetus is an experienced car enthusiast, he didn't have much experience racing stock cars in a competitive setting. Despite this, he managed to put down the 15th fastest lap in testing before the race, which surprised a lot of people. Once the race started, it was clear that Cleetus was there to compete, not just to have fun. He avoided a big wreck early on, showing great awareness behind the wheel. At that moment, he even joked that he felt like the best driver in the world. But as the race went on, things got tough. He was caught in multiple crashes, including a big one on lap 15 that ended his race early. Amber Balkan lost control in turn 2, and Cleetus's car got collected in the wreck. It was a disappointing end to his debut, but his impact had already been made. Even though he didn't finish the race, his post-race interview became an instant hit.
How you wanted it to come to a close. What was your experience like as a whole?
Well, I was having the best day of my life. Ripping around Daytona like a bald eagle. I was flat out, avoided a wreck, which was awesome. I thought I was the best driver to ever exist in that moment. And it's probably because my sleeves were cut off that I was able to pull off that maneuver, come down pit road. Then someone slammed into my rear left quarter, spun me out, lived through that, got some fresh tires, went back out there. I'm hot dogging into 1 and 2, and the car lost it in front of me, and I saw it, didn't have enough brakes to get slowed down before it, and tried to go around it, misread it, zigged instead of zagged when I should have zagged, and I zigged, and bam, blew the front end right off my hot rod.
Because of how well he performed and how much buzz he created, Cleetus is set to race again with Rhett Jones Racing at Talladega Superspeedway. There are even rumors that he might compete in more races throughout the season. His presence in the series is a big deal for both NASCAR and ARCA because it shows that social media stars can bring in new audiences and make racing more popular. One person who noticed Cleetus' impact was Dale Earnhardt Jr., one of the biggest names in NASCAR history. Earnhardt's media company, Dirty Mo Media, announced that Cleetus would be a guest on the Dale Jr. Download podcast. The episode is expected to go deeper into his Daytona experience, his journey from YouTube to professional racing, and what comes next. Dale Earnhardt Jr. himself had a big weekend at Daytona. As a team owner, he entered the number 40 Chevrolet Camaro in the Daytona 500 with Justin Allgaier as the driver. The car finished 9th in the race, which was a great result for an uncharted entry. The Daytona 500 itself had a dramatic finish, with William Byron winning after a last-lap crash took out the race leaders. Cleetus McFarland's entrance into stock car racing proves that motorsports is changing. In the past, drivers came up through traditional paths like karting, late models, or open-wheel racing. Now, thanks to social media, someone with a huge online following can enter the sport and make a huge impact overnight. His success also shows how much influence YouTube and digital media have on modern motorsports. With his strong debut and growing interest in his racing career, Cleetus McFarland's journey in NASCAR and ARCA is just beginning. Whether he becomes a full-time driver or continues to do part-time races, one thing is clear. Wherever he goes, his fans will follow. And as long as he keeps bringing millions of new eyes to the sport, NASCAR will continue to benefit from the Cleetus McFarland effect. One of the biggest moments in his career came in 2020 when he made a massive investment. He bought Bradenton Motorsports Park, a famous drag racing track in Florida. He renamed it the Freedom Factory, and this decision changed everything. Owning a racetrack gave him complete control over his content. He no longer had to ask for permission to film at tracks. He had his own. This allowed him to create bigger, crazier events and films without restrictions. With the Freedom Factory, Cleetus introduced new, exciting racing events that became instant hits. Two of the biggest events he created are Cleetus in Cars and the Freedom 500. These events attracted thousands of spectators in person and millions of viewers online. Even professional racers started showing up to participate because of how unique and entertaining the races were. There are many car YouTubers, but few have reached the level of success that Cleetus McFarland has. Now, before you leave, just don't forget to comment down your thoughts on this. And while you're down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well.